Buying your first home? Awesome. If you don't make these mistakes, because Indiana will teach you a lesson. My name's Jeff Bolin, a real estate agent that sells houses in Indianapolis and predominantly Hamilton County. And today, I'm breaking down the 5 common mistakes that I normally see from first-time home buyers. Plus some Indiana traps that you don't hear about until it's too late. Mistake number 1, the pre-approval process. So many people mess this up. Browsing for homes is fun. You go on Zillow, let's say you start taking some home tours. Look, I've had some buyers get excited and they want to wait until they find the perfect home until they start the pre-approval process. It can be scary, you might not know the outcome, and you might receive some news that you don't want to hear. I would rather a buyer hear that news 3 months before they're ready to submit an offer, rather than when they've already found the house, they've fallen in love, and now that hurt is going to hurt so much more. I think buyers should start the pre-approval process 6 months before they're ready to find a house. This gives us plenty of time to know that yes, you are approved, and if you're not, this is perfect. You have plenty of time to fix any credit issues, fix anything that's messing with your debt to income ratio, and most importantly, have time to digest and figure out a solid game plan. 2 bonus things to talk about. If you're getting approved a loan and you don't have a partner or somebody else that's gonna be help paying for that mortgage, don't go up to the max pre-approval amount. Just because you get pre-approved for the max amount does not mean you should buy a home for that price. And the last bonus tip about pre-approvals is, I don't know if people still put 20% down, but I would not. The 15% difference between a 5% and a 20% is not gonna make a huge difference to your monthly payment. You're really not going to pay that house off much faster. And you can invest that money in the stock market, other investments, or put that money towards a rainy day fund. Mistake number 2. Underestimating property taxes. Indiana does something funny where our property taxes are in arrears. Long story short, the property taxes you pay this year are actually for last year's property taxes, which doesn't make a ton of sense. This next thing kind of ties into the pre-approval and property taxes, but make sure that you account for property taxes going up in the future. Just because your mortgage payment is a certain amount today doesn't mean that it's not going to go up in the future, so account for that. Another thing is, Indiana has something called a homestead exemption, which means that if you live in this property full time, you're actually taxed at half the rate that it normally is, or close enough. So here's a pro tip. Just because you see high property taxes on a home, it might not have that homestead applied if it's a rental property or someone's secondary property. So just because you're searching for a home and you see high property taxes, it doesn't mean that's the taxes that you're going to be paying. Also, I tell all my buyers this: check your homestead at the end of the year when you first bought, before the end of the year, and after you made your first mortgage payment. And make sure your home exemption was filed, because if it's not, your property taxes are going to double. Mistake number 3, and it's skipping the HOA details. Don't skip the HOA details, it's so important. There are some neighborhoods out there with HOAs and some without. Not all HOAs are created equal. Some HOAs are super strict, and I had once had to have a client paint the color of their house before they closed, otherwise they'd get fined before they even move in. And some couldn't care less. You might have your own opinions on an HOA, and don't get me wrong, a lot of them get a pretty bad rap, for some good reason. I don't want anyone telling me what to do. However, I don't want my neighbor's house to have 6 cars that don't run in their driveway, grass up to their chest, and no offense, I don't want their house to be pink. All I'm saying is, if you are gonna live in an HOA, get as familiar with it as possible. It's gonna be boring, but read the bylaws. You can even dump it into the GPT and ask it some questions. Another thing you could do is see if you can get access to a local Facebook group in the community, or get in contact with some people that do live in the community and ask them about the HOA. Some important things to ask are, what does HOA cover? How strict are the rules? And lastly, how often do the dues go up? You can actually request to get a statement from the HOA and see how good their accounting is, if they have reserves, and if everything's looking healthy the way it should be. Mistake number 4, overbidding on the wrong house or neighborhood. Here's a hard truth. That home that may have taken you a couple months and that you may have lost out on a couple other ones first to find might not be worth what it's listed for or what you have to offer to get it. Here's something that some of my first-time home buyers struggle to understand. Just because you are offering on a home and it's above the list price does not mean you're overpaying for a house. I might even say it, I don't think list price matters. What really matters the most in a home are what the other homes around it are selling for. We have the list price here and we have the actual home value price here. If a seller lists their home way too low, yeah, it's gonna go above for list price. But even if you go for above list price, you might still get it for lower than what the home's worth. Conversely, if a seller overprices their home and you're going at under list, you could still be overpaying. When looking at a home, you have to consider, what does the home have to offer and how does it compare to the homes around it? And this is how you know what your offer price should be. Another thing to be careful about is buying a home that is completely upgraded. Yes, the home is nice, the home is perfect, and it might have everything you want. If there's nothing left in the home to upgrade, you've maxed out what this home is capable of. And you've paid the max price, so you can't do anything to force some appreciation. Whereas if you bought a home that isn't done as nice, you'll get it for a cheaper price, you can make some updates and repairs, and you'll make more money in the long run when you sell. A lot of people might already know this, but you also don't want to buy the most expensive home in the neighborhood. All of this advice is tough because everything's so situational, and the rules might be able to be bent or changed for one neighborhood or one location compared to another. So you really need somebody with an experience to help guide you and make the right decision based on your needs and wants. Last but not least, we have mistake number 5, and that's not budgeting for repairs. Here's a hard truth. That charming 1930s bungalow in Irvington or Fountain Square or even Broadway, that is a 1930s foundation too. You need a realtor and an inspector that's gonna go and look and see, hey, do you have aluminum wiring or knob and tube that's gonna need to be upgraded once you own the home? Or what if the home's on a septic? Or what if you didn't get a sewer inspection? You don't know if you have any roots growing in your pipes or if the pipes even collapsed. Here's the thing. Even on homes that are built brand new, things can go wrong. There can be defects with equipment. Mistakes can be made when certain things are being installed. None of this stuff is meant to scare you away or make you think that you're gonna have all these costs once you buy a house. Most of the time that stuff doesn't happen. If it does, you wanna be prepared, you don't wanna be scared, and you don't wanna be stressed out. All I'm saying is do your due diligence, work with somebody with experience, and it's not a matter of if something's gonna break. Something will eventually. But you'll have a game plan and you'll be ready for it. Buying your first home in Indiana does not have to be scary or risky. But in Indiana, it pays to know the game. If you want a guide that actually lives here, works here, and know the traps, subscribe to the channel. New videos every week, all built to help first-time home buyers and people moving to step up to their next home. See ya in the next one.